Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show has a bit of an ominous overtone to it. It is called A Planned Departure. And the reason why there can be a planned departure on a lot of people's minds, it doesn't mean it's happening right now, but this is a time when someone could decide to depart. And that is because a major planet has now changed signs, and it has set up a lot of resistance. And that is because Mars, the planet of war, greed, hate, jealousy, passion, and energy, has now gone into the sign of Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. Libra rules peace and all partnership, including not only marriage, but including business partnerships as well. And Libra rules the law. And it does rule peace and balance and harmony and compromise. And it rules charm and art. And so it's a little bit hard to achieve those things when Mars is there, because Mars is a very disruptive planet. And since it has moved into Libra now, it is creating a very harsh grand cross among 6 planets in cardinal signs. And most of those planets are going to stay where they are, including that Mars in Libra, for the next 7 months. And so 2014 is going to be a very different year than 2013, and it begins now. And the reason why is that Mars is in Libra, and it is directly opposing 2 other planets, the Moon and Uranus in Aries. Uranus is one malefic planet, and Mars is another. When these 2 planets are squaring, opposing, or conjuncting each other, it denotes danger or evil. And it certainly is a very harsh aspect that can indicate harm to others. Uranus does rule computers, and Mars does rule war. So there is the possibility in the next 7 months that there could be quite a bit of cyber warfare going on. It may not be something we always are going to know about, but it certainly looks to me like it's going to be happening. And so you really need to be extra careful about identity theft, because it sure could happen in the next 7 months. And so with the Moon in Aries as well being opposed by that Mars, it can stir up people's emotions. And since Uranus rules sudden change, there could be some sort of sudden change that is triggered by a legal challenge or by a partnership dispute, because Mars is in Libra. Those 3 planets are causing trouble in other areas too, because that Mars in Libra is squaring Jupiter in Cancer, and Jupiter is squaring the Moon and Uranus in Aries. And Jupiter in Cancer rules the home and the family and our emotions. And so there can be some legal dissension, or there can be a possibility of a breakup in a partnership. So if you are in a shaky partnership already, there is the possibility that a breakup could be inevitable sometime in the near future, but you'd have to plan it first. And that's why the title of tonight's show is A Planned Departure, because if people are unhappy, they may decide they're not going to stick around for any more of that. That Mars in Libra and the Moon and Uranus are also squaring 2 other planets in a cardinal sign. Venus, the planet of love, and Pluto, a planet of truth and power, which are both in Capricorn. Capricorn rules management in big business and in government agencies. So there could be a legal dispute with a government agency, or there could be a possible breakup of a large corporation for one reason or another. So this grand cross in cardinal signs is not too good for anybody, but particularly not for people who have planets in cardinal signs. So that is why I think that there is a strong possibility that a breakup is inevitable. And even if it isn't happening right now, with these harsh aspects, I think that there is the possibility that either you or someone else can be planning a departure. The problem with that is that even if somebody wants to get out of a partnership or some sort of business deal right now, they'd have to decide where they're going to go next, so they'd have to think about that. They'd have to think about how much a change is going to cost and how long it's going to take to get the money to do that as well. So there are a lot of considerations in a plan to depart, and that is why I'm not so certain that the departure happens right now unless it is triggered by a reaction to something, a swift reaction to something, because remember that Uranus is a planet of sudden change. And so a new beginning could suddenly change, or a new beginning could open up if somebody departs. So it's not all bad news right now, but you have to be aware that Mars in Libra by itself, without all these other aspects that are so harsh, would denote the breakup in a partnership or legal problems. And I'm pretty sure those are going to be on the horizon, and it may be in a very large way. It might not be that it hits you in particular, but it could hit a corporation that you work for. It could hit a government agency that has some sort of effect on all of our lives, or it could hit a country. And the reason why I mention that is that China is ruled by Libra. And if China, Mars is a planet that denotes war, and so China could become bellicose, somewhat warlike. But I don't think that China is going to be able to hold it together in 2014 because of the harshness of all of the aspects. And so I hope nobody goes to war this year, or next year. But it seems to me that with the idea of planning a departure, which I think can be on many people's minds right now, and governments' minds and countries, as soon as the plan is in place, then there can be a lot of change, and there could be different reasons for departing. The best reason for a departure at the holiday time is that maybe you're planning a vacation or going on a trip. That's a departure. That would be all right. But if you're planning to end a partnership, it's going to take a little planning before that happens, and that's the mode that we're in right now. And so I don't want to alarm everyone, because it really could be happening at a higher level. And why is that? Because there can be a shortage of financing. And the reason why is that money is in short supply. And that is because economies are a little softer now, or there aren't enough people working. And so that can affect everyone. And so as money and financing shrink a little bit, a lot of people who are living on credit could be really broke, and the strain of finances right now could be another reason why people could be planning a departure. So we all do have to be a little bit careful, and I hope you sort of keep your expectations a little bit lower and try to live within your means, particularly in 2014, because the cardinal signs denote people who have a very set way of looking at things. They're very sure of their values, and they are not willing to compromise their values at all. And with so many planets in square or opposition to each other, it does look like people are really going to be coming at each other, and part of that will involve legal action. And so I think under these harsh aspects, nobody wins. So don't get in a lawsuit if you can possibly help it, because you won't win and neither will anyone else. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think there is the possibility of either a swift reaction to a partner who could be on the warpath right now. You may decide you don't want to stick around, and therefore you could leave very quickly, because both the moon and Uranus are in your sun sign, and they actually are receiving a good aspect as well. And that is because the sun and Mercury in Sagittarius are trining the moon and Uranus in your sign. And since your sign does rule new beginnings, Aries, I wouldn't wait around for a lawsuit or to start arguing with a lot of people. Your gift is in starting over. Your gift is that you really can do a new beginning better than anybody else. And if I were you, I would contemplate one right now while the sun and Mercury are trining your sun. So you may get favorable news at a distance, or you may decide to do a little traveling, and you really should, because now there can be some contentious people around you, and I think that both in a business matter and in a legal matter and even in a home matter, there can be challenges that could make you very uncomfortable, and before you sort of lose it or you get in a fight with somebody, why don't you take a trip, Aries? That could be the best thing for you. Just remove yourself a little bit. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when I think there can be some sudden change occurring in the background of your life, because both the moon and Uranus, which are being affected by Mars in Libra, because they are in a cardinal sign, are right behind your sun sign. And remember, the moon has a lot of light to it, reflected light. So a lot of people can see what's going on in the background of your life, Taurus, and that is why there could be some sort of sudden change. And you would have to react to that rather quickly, but that isn't the way you like to operate. Yours is a fixed sign. If you get into anything where you think that if you just throw money at it, that will solve it, that's not going to be true, or it's going to be way too much money. It won't be worth it, Taurus. So I think what you need to do is try to get your hands on some money that has been held for a long time, because both Venus and Pluto, although they are under duress right now because they're in a cardinal sign, they are trining your sun. So if you could get your hands on some long-term money that had been held for a while, possibly that could see you through a contentious period, or a period when something catches you by surprise right now, Taurus, because I think you're going to have to dig a little deeper into your wallet if there is a surprising change or some sort of legal or partnership challenge. That will cost you a little bit of money, but I think you've got it long term, so that you may have to get your hands on it. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, the pressure is off you a little bit, and I actually think in the next 7 months, when this Grand Cross in cardinal signs continues, and when the pressure continues to build up as well, I don't think you're going to be very affected by that, Gemini, and the reason why is that yours is a mutable sign, and I don't think any of the mutable signs, which are very adaptable and bendable and then willing to change, I don't think that they're going to get caught up in these stringent opinions of people. That isn't the way mutable signs operate. So I think you may be able to sort of sidestep some of the pending trouble that can be coming to a lot of people. And the reason why is that Mars is no longer in Virgo. It's not squaring your sun anymore. That's the good news. Instead, it's in Libra, and now it is trining your sun. So there can be trouble on the horizon for some people. If there is, and if there is a lawsuit pending for other people, it might do you some good, Gemini. In other words, if there's been an injustice around and finally somebody takes legal action to clear that up and correct it, you might benefit from that. And so you need to be real careful, Gemini, not to get too involved in other people's arguments. They're not about you, and they're not aiming at you either. And so if you could just sort of keep a low profile for the next 7 months, Gemini, you'd be a lot happier. Try not to get involved in other people's business if you can. It's the safest way to go. All right, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is simply a time, since yours is a cardinal sign, that you can see the possibility of challenges around you. Your sign also, since it has Jupiter in it, is in a grand trine in water signs. Remember, Saturn in Scorpio is trining your sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces. So on one level, you can be very happy and contented with your home life or with your family. But on another level, you may be able to see that some people are not happy and that they can be thinking about a departure. You're a very intuitive person, Cancer, so you could see the little wheels moving in their head practically, even if no one has said a word to you. And so what you need to do is concentrate on what is making you happy and try to cushion yourself against any kind of surprise in a legal matter or a sudden departure of somebody very quickly. They could overreact and depart, because I think other people are going to have problems, and you can be nurturing if you want, but you cannot solve their problems, Cancer, and that is why you should try perhaps just to stick with your family or stay at home and try to appreciate the simple things in life while you can. You're under good emotional and financial aspects until summertime when Jupiter leaves your sign. So try to concentrate on that, Cancer, and don't get involved in any legal matters. And when business people make decisions that don't include you, you're just going to have to write it off, because you can't be everywhere. So count your blessings and concentrate on those instead, Cancer, because there are problems coming up for the next 7 months, but you are not going to be in a position to solve them. So what you have to do is, as I said, stay at home and be happy anyway. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is simply a time when you could get real lucky. And how could that happen under these harsh aspects? Well, remember I said that the Sun and Mercury are in Sagittarius, and they are trining the Moon and Uranus in Aries. And since that's a cardinal sign, it's under duress. Somebody under the threat of a lawsuit, or simply because they are disagreeing with a partner right now, or management makes a business decision that they don't like, or the budgets get cut, they could suddenly depart or overreact. And that could open a door for you, Leo. And don't be surprised if somebody leaves very quickly. You don't know all the problems in their life, but they could be deciding to sort of get out of town, and that might be the right decision for them. But if they do, if they vacate a position or they're forced out of something, that could open up a possibility for you, Leo. And it looks like you should be able to take advantage of that, or somebody could put you into a position that has suddenly vacated. And so that could be good for you. There wouldn't be that much more money involved in it, but it certainly would give you a chance to make a new start, Leo, and I think you'd love it. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, I don't think, since yours is a mutable sign, that you are going to be too caught up in the arguments or the very strong viewpoints that other people have right now, because your sign is a sign that likes to listen to reason and generally follows logic and does what is most economical anyway. That's the way you operate, Virgo, which is good, because Mars is in Libra right ahead of your sun sign, and so you're going to be able to see somebody who is unhappy in a partnership, or you may be able to see the breakup of a corporation, or even a country that is very unhappy right now. Its citizens could be very unhappy. And instead of you jumping into the fray, Virgo, it is a much better idea if you step back and realize that you should just thank your lucky stars that the pressure is off you now. You have been through a stressful time when Mars was in your sun sign, but it has moved into Libra now, and this is a time instead when you should sort of close down a little bit if you can and rest, Virgo, and think more calmly and logically, because I think as long as you operate the way you're comfortable operating, you will be just fine, despite the dissension around you. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, you're on a slippery slope. And the reason why is that there are so many challenges that you can be facing now and during the whole next 7 months. And sometimes the pressure will get to really mount up. It could be mounting up right now on you, Libra, because Mars is at 2 degrees and Uranus is at 9 degrees. They've begun to move into a position of an almost exact opposition, which will be coming by the end of the month. And that is the time when you could decide you've just had it, and you may be deciding to plan a departure. I think the decision to depart is being made by a lot of people right now. It doesn't mean they're departing. It means they're starting to think about it and maybe even starting to plan it. And I would say somewhere in your life, Libra, a breakup is inevitable. There isn't any way you can hold it together. Yours is the sign of peace. You would try to do that, but there are too many other people with opinions that are completely different than your own, and they won't listen to you. That's why there could be a breakup, is that people just won't listen. And sooner or later, you're going to be deciding that, gee whiz, I can't put up with this anymore, and it's you that might be planning the departure instead, just so you can have some peace of mind. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when there isn't much stopping you at all. And the reason why is there are no planets in the other fixed signs. There's nothing in Aquarius, Taurus, or Leo. So there's no reason for you not to go forward and concentrate on making a dream come true, Scorpio. Neptune in Pisces is trining your sun, and Jupiter in Cancer is also trining your sun. So as far as timing goes, despite the dissension that is coming out of people who are strong in cardinal signs, there is a actual wonderful rare grand trine in water signs that you should take advantage of now that Neptune is direct in Pisces, and concentrate on making a dream come true. Even if there isn't enough money, you can keep taking just one step at a time, Scorpio, and you couldn't have better aspects between now and next summer to do that. And you can achieve the pathway to making a dream come true if that is what you focus on. In other words, stay out of everyone else's troubles right now, Scorpio. They can't win, and you can't either. For one thing, they're other people's troubles, they're not your troubles. And so that's why you've got to narrow your focus to a dream that you've always had. And now is the time to focus on that and make it come true, because the dissension will pass eventually. I mean, time goes on, the planets shift, and so this is the time for you to do what is important to you, and you do have the money to start on that. Now is the time when you have to just focus onto the dream and go for that instead. You really will be happier, and you won't have these aspects again in your lifetime. That's how important it is for you to follow your dream now. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, luckily yours is a mutable sign, and you have the Sun and Mercury both in your sun sign, and they are trining the Moon and Uranus in Aries, which is very good because there may be an opportunity for you to travel. That would involve a planned departure, but it would be for a good reason. Or it can be that other people at a distance are coming to see you, and it might be that they are involved in some sort of new start, and they may be asking you to go along and help participate with them in a new start. And you ought to listen to them, Sagittarius, because yours is not a cardinal sign. It is people who are strong in cardinal signs that are going to stick rigidly to their own viewpoints, and they're not going to win any arguments, but they're not going to give ground either. We're going to see a lot of dissension and a lot of stalemate, and we're not going to see a lot of progress in the next 7 months. And there can be such a huge legal challenge that there can be a breakup, which is inevitable. So stay out of it, Sagittarius. And if that means you have to go in a new direction, the timing is perfect right now. So you ought to take advantage of the timing and seek people with new ideas and go for that, rather than stay in a place where you may end up going down with the ship. That would not be a good idea, Sagittarius. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when you could have a lot of good ideas, and you could want to do everything right because Venus is in your sign along with Pluto. And so you have a lot of experience, and you do have the answers, and you can be wanting to do the right thing for everybody. So you can want peace, but your sign is being so sorely challenged by a square from Mars in Libra, an opposition from Jupiter in Cancer, and a square from the Moon and Uranus in Aries right now, that I think that a breakup is inevitable. It can be, if you're in a partnership, that there is going to be increasing strain on the partnership, and you may decide it's not worth it to stick around, or else someone else could decide that and leave eventually. It's not that people are going to do that at the moment, but there are a lot of people are deciding about that right now and being real quiet because they're only planning it, they're not doing it yet. But the aspects indicate you will be under increasing pressure for the next 7 months, Capricorn. So go slow, because you don't want to hurt your health at all either. And you can't solve everyone else's problems. Just try to be your charming best. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when, if there is some sort of lawsuit, or there are some people in dissension right now or arguing, it might do you some good, just like Gemini. And the reason why is because Mars in Libra right now, where it will be for 7 months, is trining your sun, Aquarius. So I think that it is time for you to decide just who is a good partner. And if there is some sort of legal matter coming up, maybe it's time that it came up. Maybe something does have to be settled legally because there's no other way to settle it, but you may come out the winner on something like that. It's just that lawsuits will take forever and they cost a lot of money. And Saturn in Scorpio is squaring your sun, and there isn't enough money around right now. So you're going to have to decide just what you can afford, Aquarius. And I would say, don't count on money to solve your problems right now. Instead, maybe you should pick up some new energetic partners. Mars in Libra would denote very energetic people, and maybe that would help you. And maybe it's just time that, you sort of raised the speed level a little bit and got going on some new project if you can. So give it a thought, Aquarius. It's the time for you to move fast, and particularly with a partner. That will help you out. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is simply a time when a lot of other people are going to rigidly dig in and cling to their own values, and nothing is going to be resolved right now, and there is the possibility of a breakup as well. But just like Scorpio and Cancer, there is a rare grand trine in water signs, and that means you too need to stick to your dream, Pisces. There is some pressure that is now off you. In other words, some people that had really been making your life pretty miserable when Mars was in Virgo have moved on. Possibly they have bigger troubles of their own right now because Mars has gone into Libra and is no longer opposing your sun sign. So this is a holiday when you can finally relax and take a breather, Pisces, and I hope you do that because it is going to be a busy year and one that should make you happy as long as you're following your dream. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org, and you can subscribe and see the show anytime you want. If you subscribe on the website, we'll send it to you. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.